The Lorna M. Johnson Global Enterprises are rooted in equality and justice. We are committed to exploring innovative, non-traditional modalities and approaches to positively shift cultural norms related to bias, hate, and disparities. Thank you for joining us today as we discuss the fierce urgency of this moment, a great moment of healing communications between friends and uniting us within race, culture, faith, media, and politics. We must be the change we seek. In the spirit of my hero and friend, the late great John Lewis, aka the soul of the nation, we have work to do towards that more perfect union and a better us. Get into good trouble, he would tell us, by following the compass of love for one another. Open our hearts and inspire the best in each of us, eliminating the virus of bigotry and confusion. Responding to the call of our moral compass for a more perfect union, I ask each and every one of you to join me in uniting your world, my world, our world, by sharing your uniting ideas at Live with Lorna. The future is in your hands. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Wherever you are around the globe, welcome to the Lorna M. Johnson Global Enterprises Virtual Town Hall. You know what to do. Share with family and friends, and most importantly, let us know your thoughts in the comment section. Thank you for tuning in to Live with Lorna. Today we're talking about doing business while Black in America and some obstacles. It is often said that Black Americans are lazy, have no business acumen, and lack entrepreneurial spirit. But these assumptions fail to recognize that the creation of Black business requires resources that Blacks do not have access to because of institutional racism. Studies have shown it's not lack of initiative that keeps African Americans from starting and succeeding in business, but rather centuries-old racial disadvantages that's not experienced by any other groups. Institutional racism blocks the flow of capital to Black entrepreneurs. They have difficulties obtaining loans from institution lenders and often have to mortgage their homes through secondary loan sharks and then have to find a second job, which then takes them away from their creativity and the real task at hand, the creation of their new startup business. At the heart of it, entrepreneurship is a lot like making art. An artist uses brushes and a blank canvas to create an art piece, while the entrepreneur uses capital and a business plan with their expertise as the blank canvas to create a business. The financing, support, and other resources you obtain, or the lack thereof, has a direct impact on the success of your business. You see, in America, while the average family wealth for lower class white Americans in 2009 was $113,000, the average Black family wealth, upper, middle, and lower class combined, was a fraction of that at just $5,700. That's right. That's a big gap. So how can these people ever own or run a major company? How can they even get started? A white man is often funded on just a thought and an idea, whereas the Black man has shown had to finish his product and sustain financial traction before he's even looked at. And that's if he's even looked at all. In an ideal world, where access to capital would be equal, then the output of the maker could be judged on comparable grounds. That would be beautiful, wouldn't it be? But unfortunately, such is not the case. Built-in biases, systemic oppression, and racial liabilities make it harder for Blacks than other groups to obtain loans, line of credits, and other financial facilities which are crucial to running a business. Get it? As a result, they are often left behind. It's not lazy, it's the capital. Money. Money rules the world. Whether we like it or not, it's the capital. The capital. Finance is power. Money. Not lazy. Not lack of business acumen. Black people work twice as hard and gets nowhere near their white counterpart in raising capital. Our guest today is Isiah Thomas, a Black man, former Basketball Hall of Fame player turned entrepreneur who has beaten the odds of being Black while doing business in America with a champagne line, recycling business, real estate, media, among other notable investments in his portfolio. Isiah Thomas is known as one of the 50 greatest players in the NBA history and played his entire professional career for the Detroit Pistons, the Bad Boys. After this successful stint, Isiah took on the roles of basketball executive, television commentator, and coach. Thomas became president and part owner of the Knicks WNBA sister team, the New York Liberty. And he is the founding chairman and CEO of Isiah International LLC, a holding company with a diverse business portfolio, ventures, and investment, including a champagne line. Isiah is also an ex-governor of Chicago Stock Exchange, a height only a few businessmen throughout history has ever attained. I am proud to call him friend. Welcome, Isiah, to Live with Lorna. So good to see you.
It is good to see you.
So refreshing, so refreshing. So
Thank
great.
you, thank you.
You've had a very impressive journey, my friend. I can't wait to see what's next in your amazing voyage. It's no secret that Black and particularly Black men face incredible challenges in all corners of American society. So let's talk about this and how you've beaten the odds and what advice you can give to those young Black boys and girls who would like to be just like you.
The first thing I would just say is that you understanding the landscape in terms of it's definitely a tough journey here in America, but that doesn't mean that you can't win and that you can't beat the system. And as our mom and dads always said to us, you have to be twice as good, twice as fast, twice as strong, just to be even. And that holds true. Now, if you're having problems being twice as fast, twice as strong, twice as good, then your determination and your persistence have to be twice as strong. So my advice to all of you is don't give up. There are going to be some difficult days. There are going to be some hard days. There are going to be some moments where you don't believe in yourself. You may not believe in the things that you're committed to, but that only should last for a night or maybe 2 days.
Like that.
And then you got to get back to believing in yourself and stay persistent, because this is it's a difficult journey, but it's not an impossible journey. And that's what I want everyone to understand.
That is awesome. That is a very great message. And you're proven, so you're living it. You're living your talk, and that is awesome. From such a humble beginning that you have accomplished so much. Tell us a little bit about your journey and what it's like growing up in a household with 8 other siblings in America?
Um, well, we grew up extremely poor. That there's the poverty line, and then there's the line below poverty, where the Census Bureau don't count you. We were that family,
Wow.
and my mom and dad from Vicksburg, Mississippi, struggled really hard. In this America, trying to make sure that all of her sons and daughters were educated. As you know, that was it was a time in this country where all moms and dad were denied education. So they really stressed education inside the household, and not only did they stress education, but they stressed togetherness as a family, sticking together, staying together. That one for all for one mentality. That is truly what we were raised on, and it wasn't always easy. There were a lot of days that we didn't have food. We were homeless sometimes. We moved around from place to place, but at the end of the day, what we always had is that we had love for one another, and love really got us through a lot of nights. I didn't really have my own bed to sleep in until I got to college. That was the first time I had a bed in my dormitory. I slept on ironing boards. I slept on the floor. I wore my sister's clothes because those were the clothes that fit. So it was a tough upbringing, very humbling upbringing.
Wow.
But I'm glad that we were able to survive and stay together.
Well, that is awesome. You did not allow your circumstances at birth to impede your journey that you're going through right now in life, and you are a great success, one that is really truly admired. Do you attribute any of this strength and stamina to athletics, being in sports, all these
Absolutely.
obstacles that you have to overcome?
Absolutely. Sport and play, and I do emphasize play, because sport and play, it truly is the only activity that that connects mind and body at the same time. So you have to think, and then physically you have to act, and you have to do it simultaneously. And getting a very good understanding of how my body worked, how my mind worked, and understanding sport and play at a very young age really gave me the social discipline to keep persevering. Uh, Being on a team helped me learn how to communicate better, gave me the social environment and the social structure to make friends, and then to understand a game plan in terms of how you win a basketball game, and then going out and implementing that game plan. So all those were, ideas and things that I took and incorporated not only in my life, but also in my business and my afterlife also. So that fundamental base of sport and play is something that I've used throughout my life, and it's been very effective for me.
That is awesome because, I don't know if you're aware, but I qualified for the Olympics in the 100-meter dash myself. So, and living here in America, it's like I needed that. It's that strength and that stamina and that perseverance. I know how important that is, and I try to teach it to others, and I know that you do in your support for young people, that you're doing the importance
Yeah.
of staying with it, stick to itiveness in terms of whatever it is that you're trying to do. So we're greatly appreciative. But it also seemed like you had this little thing about you ever since you were a little boy, because you got up early in the morning when most other kids wouldn't get up early in the morning to ride 2 hours to school. Most kids would have given up. So you seem to have had some of that little stuff going on since you were a little kid. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, you know, I didn't realize at that time what I was doing or how dedicated I was. Looking back on it, traveling, 2.5 hours to school every single day, having to wake up at 4:30 and catch the 4:45 bus, and if you missed that bus, you were late. And then once you got to the end of the line, you had to walk a mile and a half to school. and that was to and from every day. Didn't realize the journey that I was on, but was just excited about the education that I was getting, the people that I was meeting, and now that I look back on how difficult that truly was, they say being naive sometimes is bliss, or ignorance is bliss. So being young and naive at that time, not understanding how difficult the journey was that I was undertaking, just to get an education. Uh, I was lucky, I was blessed, and I was fortunate to be able to do that. But I didn't realize at that time, Lorna, that I was taking on that journey. Just like all those track drills that you ran, and all the mileage that you put in, as a young athlete, you didn't understand really what it was until you look back and you say, "Wow, I did all
Yeah.
that just
Mhm.
to run
Yeah.
100 yards." Yeah.
Exactly, right? When the coach was giving you 800 and you didn't understand it, why are you running 800? I don't want to run 800. It's just 100 meters. Why are you doing that? We didn't understand all that. But as we get older, realize we needed that strength in order to
Yes.
maintain that speed to be able to win. And
Yes.
it's all those things that it gives to us. And I'm truly honored and blessed myself. Not all players made the transition from sportsman to a businessman. What gave you the courage to venture in this direction, knowing how hard it is, especially for a Black man in America?
Uh, so being poor, you develop hustling skills. You had to learn how to hustle at a very young age, to eat, to survive. So my hustle was shining shoes. So I learned how to shine shoes, not knowing that that was part of being a what we call now an entrepreneur,
Entrepreneur.
and learning business, learning how to budget, count, all those things as a young man. Those were things that I did, just to eat every day. Uh, Once I got into school, I remember taking econ, and my economics teacher told me we had an assignment. He said, go home and look in your pantry, because they were teaching us about the stock market. And whatever's in your pantry, that's what I want you to, think about investing in
Right.
terms of this assignment. Well, at that time in my pantry, we were so poor, the only thing we had was some uncooked popcorn. And so I really started studying popcorn. And one of my first ventures was popcorn. So when you walk through the airports and you see that red bag of kettle corn called Indiana popcorn, or Popcorn Indiana, I went to Indiana University, and that was one of my first ventures. Ended up selling that, and have I've stayed true to kind of what my teachers taught me. Invest in the things that you like, um, and learn the difference between expenses and revenues. You want more revenues than you do expenses. Now, those are fancy words. That what that means is that you want to make more than you spend.
Right. You know, and that's what I think kids are not getting in school today. They're still teaching the old fashioned way. And I think hopefully with technology, they're changing things around. But that's what a lot of our young kids are missing. And one of my mission is to do financial literacy and to use that same concept, because it is a good concept to use.
Yeah.
So that is great. Tell us some of your. Actually, I wanted to say you mentioned about shoe shine. I started washing dishes in the hospital.
Yeah.
As a student nurse, I'd work in the hospital and then we go wash dishes. And just like I was working hard and not thinking about it, didn't know how you do it and didn't realize how hard you were working. We were having fun. We were
Yeah.
having fun as young people. So I try to tell people that nothing is too good for you to do to get started on your journey.
Yeah.
You got to have a goal, stick to it, and whatever it takes to get you there in an honest and respectful, dignified way, that's what you should be doing.
Yeah.
Tell us some about some of your experiences in business, what you have figured out that people do not yet understand, you think, some of the things you have learned in business.
I would say that the biggest thing is, everybody talks about relationships and networking and making friends. And the thing that I've learned is that, you don't have success by yourself. And that's part of being on a team. That's part of being in sport. Success has many friends, many partners, many people, and help along the way. So the things that I've learned is that you have to put together a good plan, and and then try to implement your plan, just as you do in sport. But along the way, your plan are going to have some flaws. It's going to have some hiccups, and that's when you need help. And so you need coaching, you need mentoring, you need people that's going to give you some good advice. You need to listen. You need to learn. We're forever learners. You never know everything. So I just the one thing that I've learned that I hope that I can pass on is the networking. When they say networking, that really just means it's a fancy word for making friends. And if you don't know how to make friends, then find someone who's got a lot of friends. But find people and make friends in the things that you're interested in. Because if you're interested in something, that means you like doing it. Don't do things just to make money, but find something that you truly are interested in. And no matter what you're interested in, you can turn that into a business. And once you get a product, keyword product, because you got to have a product to sell. You got to have something that people want to buy. And if they don't want to buy it, then it's not a good product. No matter how good you think the product is. If nobody's not buying it, then it's not a good product.
That is such a good answer. Actually, I wanted to ask about what are some of your advice that you would give to young people or people who, wants to get into business, but you've just done it. You got to have the passion about this, whatever it is that you're doing, learn it and learn it well. And one of the things that I think is lacking, especially as people of color, is that our network. And sometimes because I think basketball might have helped you a lot in terms of getting out, but some people, you don't get to go to the nice schools. You don't get to the schools that have good alumni with association that you can, get to learn. And the people that you want to be around, it's hard for you to get to those people. It's a very challenging. The social part of it can be very challenging. But hang around people, like you said, that do the things that you like and know who your friends are and try to learn as much as you can from them. Tell me a little bit about your work with Marquee Jet Partners.
So I started out with Marquee Jet, and they are now Wheels Up and now called NetJets. They branched off, but we started off. It was Kenny Dichter had a brilliant idea. I met him when I got to New York, and his idea was to basically, excuse me, take sports and entertainment and upgrade them from first class into private jets and start selling what they called marquee jet cards. And what we would do is market those to, some of our sports friends in the NBA and then in business. And before you know it, everyone was moving around on private jets, and he had a fleet. And, that was part of, how Marquee Jet got started. And it really got started with friends, family, networking, and, a lot of the lessons that we learn and that we use in business, even though you've met some very influential people, I still go back to, the A's and B's of shining shoes and making friends there and really running business and making friends from the roots and from that foundation. You gotta have good people, and you gotta have people that you can trust. And making friends with good people and people that you trust, those are the people that are going to do good in business, and those are the people who have done well in business. Absolutely. The people who always got a scheme, the people who always got a fast way to make a buck, so forth and so on. They last and they have some glory for about 4 or 5 years, and then they end up in jail, just like you were on the streets. An honest hustle is a good hustle.
That is so awesome, and I'm sure you've had a few of those dishonest hustles where people try to do things and try to tell you they're going to save you, and before you know it, they're trying to take you down. And that's a part of doing business. And I'm sure you've lost a lot of money in business as well as you've gained a lot of money. So one of the things I think one has to understand, you cannot be afraid when you really desire something. And even though you've been hurt or you've been kicked down, you need to just get back up and do not allow any of these obstacles that you have encountered to stop you from doing what you want to do. Just keep going, pick yourself back up, and the people that rob you, just let them go and keep going, because that their rob, what they've done is only going to last, like you said, for so long. You know, my favorite, go ahead. You want to say something?
No, I was just going to say you're absolutely right. You're not going to win every game.
Right.
And in business, you're not going to win every negotiation. The key is that though when you lose, just like when you lose a game or you lose a negotiation, you know, can you learn from that loss? Can
Absolutely.
you get better from it? How do you go back and critique your mistakes in terms of what you made, what you did wrong, and then get better at it the next time around? But never quit, never give up.
Absolutely. You know, do you find, because I do you find that also when you have these obstacles that you just get better? You just prove yourself, you just get better and better. I do.
Yeah. They say experience is the best teacher. However, sometimes they don't tell you that gaining experience will hurt so bad.
That's right. You know, but I just, you know, sometimes I wonder about myself because I feel like every time somebody I get, you know, try to tear me down or take a big loss of something, it's like, wow, look at what came out of this fall. So use these obstacles as stepping stone and you just get better and stronger. My favorite part about a lot of the work that I have learned that you're doing, I didn't even know so much about all the different aspects of your business venture, but one of my favorite things is the champagne. And I know champagne is particular to Champagne, France. I know there's sparkling wine and I know there's champagne. So tell me about your champagne venture. What's going on with that and how did you get started?
Well, as of 2 weeks ago, we're the largest American champagne importer in the United States and the largest Black-owned champagne company in the world. My champagne is called Sherlong Champagne, and I've partnered with the Sherlong family, who have been making champagne since 1788. Got 200 acres over in the Aube region of Champagne, which is the oldest region of Champagne. After I sold my popcorn company, I was looking for my next venture to go into, and it turned out to be that Champagne was the space that I was interested in. Now, why was I interested in Champagne? Because, you know, after every NBA championship, you pour champagne on your head, and you celebrate and everything else. So from a celebratory standpoint, it's like, okay, well, what's different about that, and why is it champagne? So that curiosity drove me there. Once I got there, then I realized that there are 3 presses of the grape to make champagne. The first press, of course, is the best press, and the second and the third press are not so good. Well, here in the United States, some of the heavily marketed brands of champagne were second and third press. And I said, you know, as you and I are both athletes, former competitors, you know, I mean, you know, in our respective field, it's like, okay, well, how do you get to be the best, right? What's the first press and where is that going? I say America doesn't get first press champagne. And so that led me to the space where I said, I want to give Americans first press, low sugar, and zero sugar champagne.
Wow.
They said to me that Americans have an appetite for sugar, and the American palate craves sugar. So, you know, we don't know if the Americans will drink zero and low sugar champagne. I said, I don't think the Americans have ever been given a choice of first press of the grape, low and zero sugar champagne. And that's what we started importing. That's what I started bringing over. And, you know, right now, the success that we've had the last 4 or 5 years has been spectacular. However, it has been difficult. I don't want anybody to think that it's been easy. You know, being Black, African American in this space, and being the only one that really owns 100% of his company. I don't own the brand; I own the company. And owning 100% of the company and being the only one that's navigating through this space, I have run into some difficulties. But instead of letting those difficulties stop me, you know, you just get better. You find a way to work around it and you get better. But for every 100 doors that I've knocked on, I've gotten maybe 1 or 2 yeses.
That's it. That's the way it is. And, you know, and even in funding, and I'm sure you ended up 100% of your company because nobody would fund you to do what you wanted to do. So you had to fund it yourself.
Yep.
And which is
bet on myself.
That's right. Which is one of the big issues that even venture capital or people in that want to get into the business of owning big companies like the Amazon and what have you, there are no funding for us, people of color. And that's something that I'm talking about louder and louder now, because I think it's really, really, truly important. And I hope that you will consider that, even funding other venture capital. Do you do that by any chance? Do you fund other ventures in different aspect of startups, I should say?
Yeah. So my background, my business experience is in startups and turnarounds.
Wow.
And that's what I do. And when you look at most of the companies in my portfolios, they all have been startups, and some of the turnarounds I've turned around and sold. Now, from a capital funding standpoint, since I'm 100% self-funded and haven't really had access to capital, what I try to offer the startups is advice, and try to show them some of the pathways to navigate where you may not need the type of funding because it's just not there. Now, just because the money's not there doesn't mean that you can't get in the business. We have to find other ways, and we have to create other pathways, which fortunately I was able enough to do. And still to this day, you know, when you talk about, you know, access to capital and having the capital to expand and do the things that you want, it's still not there. And it's not there because, you know, the melanin in our skin and the system that we operate here in America, there's no access to it. And if there is access to it, there are a lot of strings attached to that access.
That's right. And you have to be careful even taking some of that. And I'm glad to talk about startup, because not to put on a little bragging bit here too, I just started a new startup this year, and we're doing really, really well. We doing telemedicine. It's called CribMD Telemedicine and Doctor's House Call in Nigeria, but it's an American company. And of course, you know that in Nigeria, you have over 200 million people, and their healthcare system is it's like 5%, less than 5% of the people living there have any semblance of healthcare. So we just started this year, and we are doing fantastic. And we have people that are interested in now coming to us, because with white people, if you have a thought and an idea, you get funded. But with Black people, even when you have the wheels turning and the money coming in, nobody still wants to fund you. Yeah. But now we have the wheels turning so fast and so hard that people wanting to fund us, but you also have to be careful, because if you have people funding you, they could end up want to pour a lot of money on you and take away your company. So those are things that we have to educate people that are doing new startup, that when somebody come and give you, $1 million, you're going to be a millionaire. You have to be careful, get the proper guidance before you accept that money and sell yourself away. So I am really excited about what we're doing, but we're becoming a unicorn. We will be a unicorn soon. We're on the path to that. And I will talk with you a little bit more about that. Maybe you want to be on our board. Being a governor of Chicago Exchange is a major, major accomplishment, Isiah. Tell us, how was that gig? And how can you help Black businessmen and women like myself, get to these positions and be a beacon to the younger generation?
So
That was
I was the first African American selected to the Chicago stock exchange, and being a board member there, I learned a lot. Now, how did I get there? Again, you have friends, you have people that help along the way, mentors, and Reverend Jesse Jackson in Chicago, through his Push Excel, uh, he was one of the ones who was pushing me, understanding my career, my journey, recognizing me, and he advocated for me to be on the board and to be accepted, and that's how I got the position. Uh, he went and told my story, told how I had been successful not only as a player, which people tend to focus on, but also as a businessman, and also in education. So having someone to advocate for you, tell your story, was key for me. Uh, and then of course when the door opened, you have to go in and close it. But I give Reverend Jesse Jackson the credit for, opening that door for me to enter into.
That is beautiful. A lot of people that I've been talking to lately are giving Jesse Jackson, Reverend Jesse Jackson, a lot of credit for the work he has done to help the progress of Black people. And I know we met through Mignon also, and
Yeah.
and she spoke very highly of him. And I think there's a lot from that era that he has helped to push forward. And we talked about being on board for young startup. Can we talk about? I want to switch the subject a little bit. Anything else that you want to talk to us about before we switch off from the business aspect of it that you want to share
No,
with young people, or tell us, encourage your young brothers and sisters to get up and not
no.
discourage. And the mind is a powerful thing, and whatever you think, you can achieve it, and all that good stuff. Go ahead.
Yeah, I just like to echo what you just said. Sometimes when you're talking to young people, particularly in our community, I don't like to sometimes you can sound like you're bragging and patting yourself on the back and pounding your chest. That's not what I'm doing. I'm so if you want to learn about what I've done in business, I mean, you can Google it. But I'm just truly here to encourage all of you to hold on to your dreams, chase them. And by the way, if it doesn't work, the first time, pick yourself up, dust yourself off, and keep trying, because if I can emphasize anything, is that you are going to get knocked down. That's part of the game. Part of the game is failing. When the game starts is when you get up, and when you can get out of your, oh, they hurt me, oh, it feel bad, and yeah, that you're gonna go through that. You're gonna cry in your pillow, and it's gonna hurt. But at the same time, that's the game. That's part of it. You don't get through this unscathed.
That's right.
Just like growing up, you're gonna have some falls. So in business, expect that you're gonna have some failures. Now, when you fall, how can you learn from that? Get up and go win, not give up and feel sorry for yourself.
That's right. That's right. Thank you so much for those inspiring words. I want to switch a little bit to, and you can answer. Feel free to answer this whichever way you want. But voter suppression has been a big thing happening in our community. Um, as a Black man and a man of influence in sports and business world, what are you doing to lift the voice of this very important issue to influence young people?
Uh, what I'm trying to do daily, hourly, is remind our young people of our history in this country, and remind them that this thing that they call race um, is truly, it's not biological. It is a social construct that we here in America abide by.
The way you're going to change the outcome of Black and brown people is to re-educate the citizenry of the United States of America. We've got to stop talking about white and black because people do not come in those two colors. People come in shades of brown because we all come from the same place, a country in Africa, and we all originated there from 300,000 to 500,000 years ago. However, the importance of what happened on January 6th at the Capitol building and what happened with George Floyd is now white people, so-called white people, can no longer deny that there's racism in this country and that we are seeing people of color murdered on a daily basis for the last 2 weeks because of not the color of their skin. The color of their skin is natural. That's how the first modern human beings looked. The problem is not skin color. The problem is the ignorance about skin color.
So, we're really in, apartheid color boxes, white, black, people of color. Now, what does this system mean that you're under? So when you're classified as white, and this is what I try to educate, when you're classified as white, you get birthrights. That means that the white male has never stood in line talking about voting rights. When you're classified as black, you get civil rights. What we're all fighting for is to have equal rights, which means that you get birthrights. So, voting rights in itself, the fact that we have to ask for voting rights means that we are living in an unjust system that favors one over the other. There's birthrights, and then there's nationality. We confuse race and nationality, and they're not the same. That's what I try to do in terms of educating and fighting for voting rights, is understand the system that we are living in. Because once we understand the system that we're living in and living under, then everyone can agree what is equal and what is not, and what we should be fighting for. We're fighting for voting rights, but we're also fighting for birthrights too in this system, and to be uplifted back up to the human race and not these color boxes that we live in here in America.
Absolutely. I mean, that is well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. As a matter of fact, I think I got a little bit of education there. So thank you very much, Isiah. This was really
well, you classify as Jamaican. There's a territory, there's land, and there's a nationality. And when you came to America, they said, you're black. And you said, what?
No. They said you're an immigrant and you don't belong here. Yeah. You're not one of us.
Exactly. But I'm just saying, like, in terms of what the American dream is supposed to be, we accept all nationalities.
That's what
and everybody has an equal and fair chance here. And so we're asking, just like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X and all the other civil rights leaders, they were asking that we live up to the words that are written on the Constitution.
Absolutely.
That, this is that shining light, that beacon on the hill that Reagan talked about, where all men can come and women can come and be treated equally and have a fair shot at the American dream, not just those who are classified as white.
And that's what we asked for, the fair shot. But I think there is some fear of giving us the fair shot, because what we would do with it, what we have done with the little that we've had access to, look at you, look at me. But we're having another problem in our community, and that problem is with COVID-19. So, there's a problem in the African American community when it comes to COVID-19. I am a nurse practitioner and a clinical nurse professor and former lecturer at UCLA School of Nursing. I saw firsthand how people of color are talked down to, breed trust, and content. I too had my own skepticism about the vaccine, but we are dying at an exponentially higher rate than whites. 60% of whites are vaccinated and less than 8% of blacks. The vaccines are our solution to saving our lives, our family's life, and our community. How can you help us in lifting your voice, Isiah, and your sports world of influencers to help people of color get vaccinated? Did you
You
get
know,
vaccinated? I'm sure you did.
yeah, just the old way. I believe in our oral history, just as I do our written history, but more so our oral history. And our oral history says, tell somebody. That's how we were taught. We had to tell somebody.
Exactly. Hmm.
So what do? I tell people I am double vaccinated, waiting on a booster.
Oh,
I
wow.
got, I'm
I don't
double V'd
waiting on
up.
a booster. Well, that may scare them away that they think they're gonna need a booster, but
I don't care if I need a booster or not, but I'm trying to live, right?
exactly. That is
And
beautiful.
so I took both Moderna shots, and if they come back out and say I need a booster, I'm gonna go get it. Now, why do I believe and why do I trust? I believe that Vice President Harris will tell us the truth, and I believe she told us the truth, and that's why I'm moving forward.
Well, that is beautiful, and I hope all my young brothers and sisters heard your message. So, can you say it one more time? What do you want to say to your brothers and sisters that are listening? Why they should get vaccinated? Our campaign, by the way, is called Armed and Vaccinated. And if they do get vaccinated, we also have an armedandvaccinated.com where they can go to and enter to win a trip for two to Jamaica. So go ahead and do a little PSA.
I am double V'd up, and when they say I need a booster, I'll go get a booster. I'm healthy, I'm living, and I ain't trying to die. I grew up on the west side of Chicago where I wasn't supposed to live past 18. Now that I'm past 18, I'm trying to live. You should too.
Thank you. That is beautiful. Well, Isiah, this was truly, truly an inspiring time spending with you. Thank you so much for joining me. You have inspired me even more. And I hope others are getting some inspiration from you. And I want to wish you continued good luck on your voyage because you are not done yet. There is still so much more for you to do. So thank you again for joining me here on Live with Lorna. It's been
Thank you, sister. Appreciate you. Sending you love, hugs, and blessings.
Hey, ditto, my brother. One love, one love. Take care. Talk soon. The road to financial independence for Blacks is not easy. The unique challenges faced by Black business owners won't be settled in a day or two. And although finances play a significant role in business, simply increasing the funds allocated for Black businesses isn't going to solve the entire problem either, though it would make a huge dent and level the playing field. A holistic approach is needed, and to get there, it's essential that we understand all factors that contribute to successful entrepreneurship. A study released by the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation, conducted by the Center for Policy Analysis and Research, looked at the state of Black entrepreneurship in America. This study highlighted 3 factors that have a significant impact on the success of a business: human, financial, and social capital. Human capital refers to the people-associated characteristics that help us scale our businesses, such as education and experience. Financial capital speaks to the money and resources we need to start and keep our companies operational. Social capital refers to the relationship and networks that plays a significant role in our business growth. All these need to be addressed for the terrain to be leveled by Black entrepreneurs. This could mean an increase in internship and apprentice for people of color to equip them with the necessary knowledge and skills required to run successful business. There's also a need to diversify the venture capitalist space so that the Black entrepreneur can start building meaningful connection with people who can help them and help their business to grow. Your road to success may not be easy, but if you put your mind to it, you will achieve it. Remember, you are the master of your mind. Again, thank you for tuning in, and see you on the next Live with Lorna. Good night.